You wake up, check the news, and see that the United States government owes over $36 trillion. But the strange part is how universal this condition has become. Almost every country on Earth is running a massive deficit every single day. We're talking about Japan, India, France, and the United Kingdom. Some of the wealthiest, most productive economies in human history are operating deeply in debt, which leads to a very simple math problem. If nearly every nation is in the red and actively borrowing money, who exactly is lending it to them? Most people imagine a giant steel vault in a foreign capital filled with cash, or perhaps a secret cartel of banking families dictating global terms. Finding the owner of this debt requires looking past the giant vaults and into the fine print of our own financial accounts. Governments don't go to a giant commercial bank to ask for a loan. Instead, institutions like the U.S. Treasury issue their own financial instruments to the public. They are called government bonds. At its core, a bond is a promise. The government takes in cash today and hands over a piece of paper pledging to pay back the original amount plus interest on a specific date in the future. Now, consider what happens when you get paid. You deposit your paycheck into a local savings account, pay a life insurance premium, or put a percentage toward a retirement fund. Those financial institutions need a safe, reliable place to grow that money over decades. To do that, they buy government bonds. Because these institutions hold such a massive portion of the national debt, we are the ones indirectly lending money to our own governments through our retirement accounts and bank deposits. But there is still the question of foreign ownership, the massive chunks of U.S. debt held by countries like Japan or China. Independent overseas institutions, like Japanese pension funds, scan the globe for the safest, most liquid assets available to protect their own clients' savings, mirroring the exact behavior of your local bank. Once the government collects all that borrowed money from the sale of bonds, they spend it. They fund tangible public works, build highways, run hospitals, and pay the salaries of civil servants. This chart shows how cash completes its journey. Citizens earn salaries from government contracts, deposit their savings into institutions, and those institutions buy more government bonds. Then the cycle immediately starts over, spinning day after day, expanding to handle trillions of dollars. Global debt functions as a massive kinetic engine, continuously pumping capital through the arteries of the modern economy. But if governments just keep borrowing infinitely to feed this massive loop, we have to ask why the entire structure doesn't eventually collapse under its own weight. This visualization maps out a concept called rolling over debt. Governments almost never sit down and pay off their entire balance at once. Instead, when an old 10-year bond finally reaches its due date, they issue a new bond to pay off the old one. They take the cash from today's investors to settle up with yesterday's. The timeline just keeps extending forward, endlessly replacing expiring IOUs with fresh ones. Because of this constant refinancing, the health of the system depends less on the total size of the debt and more on a nation's ongoing ability to find new buyers. The entire rollover mechanism relies on a single invisible metric: confidence. Investors must believe the issuing government will still be stable and collecting taxes years down the line. When that confidence vanishes, the math breaks down. Spooked investors demand higher interest rates to compensate for the extra risk, making borrowing vastly more expensive. And suddenly, a government can no longer afford to refinance its old debts. History shows the consequences of this in Greece. As investors realized the math wasn't adding up, belief evaporated. Borrowing costs surged so violently that the nation was effectively locked out of the global market. Sri Lanka faced a similar evaporation of trust. When a country is ejected from this financial loop, the physical results are immediate. Fuel dries up, blackouts roll across cities, and the entire public support system breaks down. The global financial system rests on a single foundation: the collective, daily decision of billions of people to trust that a promise made today will be honored tomorrow.